Hello, Namaskar. Welcome to my pod, the CAA Show. CAA, as all of you know, is Conversations and Analysis. My name is Juggi Bhasin. To become a subscriber, all you have to do is press that red button as you can see on your screen. Subscription is, of course, completely free. Would also really appreciate if you could like this video and share this video with your friends. All right. The question on everybody's mind is what's next? What's coming next? We all know that the short, intense war between India and Pakistan is at least temporarily over, even though officially we haven't curtailed Operation Sindoor. It is like it's on pause mode. I think that's the best way to describe it. Anything can happen tomorrow, but at least for the timing, the hostilities are over. And it is also a fact that we have won a very convincing military victory against Pakistan. That also is also not in doubt. We also have certain straws in the wind, what's going to come next, because these delegations have been lined up. The government has taken an initiative, and there are these delegations going all over the world, especially to Western Europe and to the US, drawn from political leaders of different political parties in India, which is a great step to put forward India's case. But much, much more than that needs to be done. So in this podcast, I thought that I would take out points, options which India can exercise, which we probably can think about, we probably can implement to best put forward our case to buttress our point of view. Now, before I do that, let's address a big thing which has happened, a big issue which has happened. Even before Operation Sindoor, or I would say even before the Pahalgam attack, the case of Pakistan was that Pakistan was almost like a forgotten entity. Nobody bothered with Pakistan. It was in the doghouse. It was practically ignored by all countries in the world. It was going around with a begging bowl, as we all know. It was living on the edge, living for sustenance and, always crying. Nobody was listening to Pakistan's case. Yes, as I've said, we have won a great military victory against Pakistan, but in the process, something else has happened that, for reasons beyond our control, Pakistan suddenly find itself pitchforked right in the limelight. It is now in the limelight. It is now in the crosshairs. It is now grabbing attention all over the world, certainly for the wrong reasons. And we all know the reasons are that it is a terrorist harboring country, it is a terrorism sponsor, it regularly blackmails everyone with its nuclear capability. We all know that. But for whatever reason, Pakistan suddenly is in the limelight, and not for very good reasons. And unfortunately, a couple of other things are also happening is that many countries of the world, and I would say practically most of the countries, I would say, not even say, I would say many countries, but many countries in the world are envious of India's dramatic economic progress, military progress. And by the way, as far as the military progress is concerned, everybody knew that India, of course, was a mighty military power. But to see our military in action, to see the technological edge which we have acquired during this recent Operation Sindoor has shaken up practically everyone in the world. It is actually, even to be very honest, come as a big surprise to many in India also. We also did not know that we had these capabilities in air defense and the missile shield and all those other things. But the short point which I am making is that what really is happening right now is that Pakistan has come into this limelight, and these countries who are envious of India's progress, they are now comparing India and Pakistan in the same tone, or they are trying to, show equivalence, or India and Pakistan are like that, as if India has been relegated to the position of Pakistan, or Pakistan has come up to the position of India, which is most unfortunate because, as we all know, whether you compare the economic potential, the economic might, or the military might, or anything, or any other parameter, India is miles, miles, miles ahead of Pakistan, but the narrative has become this, as somebody said, the same-sidedness that India, Pakistan, they have started now talking in those bipolar terms, and that is not a very good thing. And this narrative has started going around the world, so that has to be countered. Now, I'm arguing in this podcast that our next steps have to be very, very tough, but they also have to be very, very creative. And therefore, let's start with step number one. The step number one is and I think that's the most important thing which is now going to start happening is what is going to be our messaging, what is going to be our communication to the rest of the world, because that is what really, really is the most paramount thing right now. Also, I had argued in an earlier podcast that we did practically everything well, but those critical 2 days in between, our messaging could have been a little better. It was good enough, I would say, but not excellent. It could have been better. And therefore, now we have an opportunity in our hands. Now we have the right time has come when these delegations are going to fan out all over the world. And therefore, we have an opportunity to spread the message. But the critical thing, but the important question which should be asked now is, which I'm surprised nobody's asking is, that what are these delegations going to do? What are they going to say when they fan out in the world capitals? Are they just going to hand over a dossier or talk about India's prowess or how we managed Operation Sindoor so brilliantly? Are we just going to do that, or is it going to be something beyond that? And that's the real question we should be asking out here. And I'm saying, and I'm arguing here, that knowing the proclivities, knowing the behavior, and knowing the inclinations of many of these countries, especially in Western Europe and US and other countries, whatever you might say or do might just be water off duck's back, because a lot of the countries' minds are probably already made up. And they, at the moment, are enjoying this binary, this bipolarity between India and Pakistan, equating us with Pakistan. They probably are enjoying that. So they'll listen to us, they'll do us the courtesy, but how much are they amenable to reason? How much they are amenable to change or to tailor their policies according to what we are asking them to do is a big question mark, but we have to try. So I'm arguing in this podcast is that yes, by all means, give them the dossier, show them the facts, give them the satellite images of all our military achievements in Operation Sindoor, and let the most articulate in the team talk about that. But then you have to come to two or three important things which you have to raise with them. This would be an opportunity to tell these countries and take them and ask them that, guys, here's the situation, and tell them clearly that we don't like this binary that people have started doing between India and Pakistan. There is no comparison. As far as we are concerned, Pakistan is a rogue state. It is a terrorist sponsor. And therefore, it has to be treated like that, which means we are asking you, as the country we are talking to right now, that choose between India or Pakistan. I think the time has come when we have to project our prowess, we have to project our might, we have to project what we stand for. And we are saying that if you keep on doing this binary thing between India and Pakistan, that in a sense, you are favoring Pakistan. We don't like it. We would like a clear expression of support in both in what you say and in your policies vis-a-vis India. Come out in the open and support us. That's the opportunity. This has to be the primary message we give to countries where these delegations are going. Make them choose for India as opposed to Pakistan. That's the first important point. Then, also, as I said, you give them proof and you give them the future intent. Also, make them aware that from now onwards, a certain red line has been crossed in Operation Sindoor. And now the new normal, as we have already explained, would be that next time we won't even bother to have all this big hangama and all that about we will do this. We will just do it. Tomorrow there's a terrorist attack. Tomorrow, if they try and meddle in our affairs, we will just respond. Maybe within 24 to 48 hours. The targets have been outlined. We know exactly with precise ability the targets to strike. We will do that. It'll be like a normal thing for us. It'll be continuous. What I'm trying to say is that you make the countries aware, because only then these countries can put pressure on Pakistan that for India's going to start behaving like Israel. And why would that be the case? That would be the case because the biggest thing that has happened in Operation Sindoor is that the nuclear bluff has been called, and Pakistan came down on its knees when it realized that its air bases would be wiped out. They were suing for peace. They wanted that ceasefire, as all the reports tell us. And therefore, the message we have to give to all these countries is that India is going to make it perfectly normal now. You do something inimical to us, we will respond in the next 24, 48 hours, and there will be devastating losses in Pakistan. That's the point which we have to convey across, this firmness of intent that has to come across. And then, as I said, the choice of either you're with us or you are against us, it's the same principle of the American doctrine, but it now becomes the Indian doctrine. And you have to reinforce that, because the time, the era of being good people, good, pleasant, nice people, persuasive people is all gone. Operation Sindoor, I think, probably has crossed a red line which has changed everything forever. Let people now see tough India, reasonable India, but certainly very tough India, which is going to protect its interest. It's not going to plead with the international community or going to, send and engage in long discussion. We're just going to be firm and we're going to act, but we are letting other countries know. And I think this message has to be given to Western Europe. It has to be given to the US and other countries also, that this is what India intends to do. And thirdly, since these delegations are going, also please remember it's an opportunity to advance your business interests. And what are the business interests which I'm talking about right now? You have to, you can actually talk about the potential, the export potential of your defense system, Akash Tir, depending on which country you want to sell it. Of course, you might not be very comfortable in sending this absolutely fabulous system to every country. There might be a lot of countries which are hostile to us, but friendly countries, we can, this is an opportunity. Hear them, see if that, because these issues will come up in the discussions of Akash Tir, of all the success which our indigenous technologies, our air defense system had thrown up, the potential of exporting these technologies to earn valuable foreign exchange. That also is part of the deal. But also remember, in conclusion about the messaging part, I will say one more thing, that uh, we also have to, I think it's time now that we come out and give even more facts and figures, because these countries will also question you and talk to you about facts and figures. And what am I referring to? I'm referring to this absolutely stupid story which goes on and for the last so many days, how many Rafales were shot down by Pakistan and all that. Look, nobody knows, as I said, because this information obviously has not been made public, and the government will decide when it has to make it public. But the fact of the matter is this: Operation Sindoor has been a spectacular military success for us. Not only all those 9 to 10 terrorist sites which we bombed and we killed so many of these terrorists, but also those 11 air bases in Pakistan which we bombed and destroyed almost 20%, as people have been calculating, of Pakistani air-based infrastructure. But at the same time, there is this story going on that some Rafales were lost or some MiGs were downed or whatever. Now, the fact of the matter is that we are fighting a war. This is not a video game which you're fighting. And, you can't just win, win, win. Maybe you did. Maybe something was damaged. Who knows? But whatever it is, and if we haven't, wonderful. But I'm saying maybe the time has come where not only these facts are made public, but because these questions are bound to be asked by these foreign governments when our envoys go and meet them in foreign lands. Trust me, these questions will crop up. And I'm pretty sure the government will brief them very, very well. That is our delegation. But then we must have an answer ready. So maybe the time has come where we literally put forward all the positives we have achieved. And if there have been a few losses here and there, well, that's part and parcel of warfare. No big deal about it. Uh, I still remember, just to give you an example, we in the 1971 war when I was a kid, and that was again a spectacular victory which we won. But we also lost some of our naval assets in that war. But that was part of the deal. But even then, it was a spectacular victory. A victory is a victory, and even a loss here or there, that is assuming if there is a loss, as I'm arguing here again and again, we might not have lost anything. So all the more reason we should come forward and say all this in public. Um, let's do that. But again, it's for the government to decide. They know the right time. They know the right time to give this important messaging. But I'm saying we must have our answers ready, our delegations prepared. Simply going and making case, oh, we have won, without any facts and figures would be short-sighted. Give them, our delegations, all the facts and figures so they can make a tremendous presentation and then stress upon the points which I'm talking about. Number 4, and this is our last point which I'm going to talk about in the messaging, then I will go to another issue altogether. Besides the political narrative which is tilted against us, besides many of these countries silently, in a way, kind of startled, shocked by India's, of course, military prowess, but at the same time happy that now India is again being equated with Pakistan. That's how a lot of Western governments, I'm pretty sure, are thinking right now. But at the same time, there's another component of Western democracies we have to address, and that's the media in the West. And the media, by and large, in the West is absolutely against us. I've been closely following the coverage on BBC or DW, France 24, CNN, and all these channels. They have been uh, taking the Pakistani side, not so much blatantly, but by always quoting the Pakistani side. Oh, the Pakistanis are saying so many Rafales went down. Oh, the Pakistanis are saying this. Oh, the Pakistanis are saying they jammed this, they did that. Lies, complete blatant lies. But I still don't see, even today, too much of refutation, too much of standing up to them and saying that what the facts you are spinning out are almost libelous, are wrong. Why is nobody doing that? That's the first part. The second interesting thing which has happened during this conflict is that there were certain entities within our country, certain media entities, certain broadcasters. Some, of course, are traitorous, as we all know. This YouTuber who has been Jyoti Malhotra has been arrested. But there are other YouTubers, there are other podcasters who, for want of a better term, were this liberal, hard left, whatever variety. But some of them very pleasantly have been completely supportive of government actions. And these entities also have linkages with the media newsrooms, with the media entities in the West. So I'm arguing here, just to give an example for it, somebody like Abar Khadat, for instance. I mean, all said and done, she writes for the Washington Post. She was interviewed on the Piers Morgan show. And there are many others like her who, and to give her credit, she has very positively reported about Operation Sindoor. I've seen a couple of her programs, which is a good thing. So why not utilize their services? Ask these podcasters or media entities that, hey, why don't you maybe even send them, who knows, fund them, get them on a plane and send them to the various newsrooms in the West, to all these France 24's, BBC's, CNN's and all that. Go on a tour, 5 or 6 day tour, and talk to the senior editors of these organizations and put forward India's point of view that this is what we have achieved in Operation Sindhu. These are our red lines. This is going to be the template for the future. maybe these people can actually help us. The very fact that we are sending like the gentleman Shashi Tharoor is going there, who's of course from the opposition camp. So why not some of these entities? This is just an idea which I'm floating that or if you instead of just criticizing these media entities, and let's presume they won't listen, their minds are already made up. We know that. We know about how these media entities function and work, who they are staffed with. There are also now reports there are a lot of these Pakistanis who actually have infiltrated in the sense that they work in these media entities, and therefore obviously the coverages are biased. But even then, give it a try. Why not get some of these patriotic, nationalistic podcasters together on a plane, send them to these newsrooms, let them meet senior editors, and let's see something good can come out of it. I'm just an idea which I'm putting forward. So that's the messaging part, because the real battle now is going to be the messaging battle, the communication battle. And also, I said in an earlier podcast, we need to strengthen our government communication more and more. See, the wonderful thing which has happened after the war was the absolute brilliant manner in which the prime minister addressed the country, and by those that wonderful coverage which happened at the Adampur Air Base. I mean, it completely, as I say, changed the optics, the scenario, everything, for not only for fellow Indians, for the whole world. But then you can't expect the Prime Minister to go everywhere. You can't expect the Prime Minister to speak at everything on Operation Sindoor. He's got a million things which he has to do every day. Others have to do the job. And that's what I'm again arguing again and again. You need to pick up a team of excellent communicators, maybe in the Information Broadcasting Ministry, maybe in the Press Information Bureau, other people who are visible, who are daily giving briefings, who are appearing on camera, tell about what all progress is being made, instead of just giving dry information and relying on news channels or on social media to carry forth the message. See, that's one way, that's fine. But the government spokespersons, as I said, very telegenic, good communicators have to be picked and chosen for this, who are daily briefing. Please remember, we are almost like, if not maybe in a state of war. But now there's a new normal which is going to happen, and I am that new normal is that we will enjoy peace with bouts of intense war. That is going to be the new normal, because these strikes and all that, I foresee these strikes will keep happening regularly, because we all know what Pakistan is all about. We all know what Bangladesh is all about. We all know our neighbor to the north, that is China. So this stuff is going to keep happening. And then, of course, hopefully, longish periods of peace in between. So you need a team of communicators from the government side also to fill in the gaps, and the party spokespersons are not enough. I'm sorry if somebody says that the party spokesman has sent somebody to talk about it. That's all right. That's all right. But you need government spokesperson to give forward the government's point of view. Um, uh, I still remember in the old days. There are these XP briefings, they were called. They're still called XP briefing. That is a Ministry of External Affairs briefing. I used to go as part of when I was in Doordarshan News, attend those. And there was a gentleman, I'm completely forgetting his full name, but Aftab Seth, that's right. And he was absolutely wonderful, the kind of communication, the way he used to speak. So we need people, more and more people, telegenic people, people who speak well. And if necessary, bring back some of our diplomats who are retired now. Somebody like, I think, Taranjit Sandhu was the ambassador to the US. Bring such people back. Let them be the spokesperson. These are the kind of people we have to put forward more and more, explaining the government's case. So communication is key, and that has to be, the effectively put forward India's case. Now, the second part is the military part. Now, I had only argued, I think I was among the first which argued that before, and this was even before Operation Sindoor was launched, that air defense is going to be the key more than offense. And I was completely proven right. So air defense is the key. Obviously, put more and more money, bolster your budget for a defense, almost like as so it was so many years, so many decades back that Ronald Reagan talked about the Star Wars missile shield. So we have actually developed that. So strengthen this air defense missile shield more and more with all kinds of investments, drones, all that goes without saying. But from the military point of view, prepare also your own public that the new normal will be that yes, we will have, as I said, peace, but let's be also internally as the people of India, we need to be prepared that there might be these short, intense, uh, 1 day, 2 day, conflict situations will arise with Pakistan. It could happen tomorrow with Bangladesh. It could happen with God, any recalcitrant neighbor. That could happen. We have to prepare the public for that. So that is also important. That also, as I said, that is again communication which has to be given. And then the fact that the Siliguri corridor, the next step, I mean, that time is also running out for us. In short, I'm arguing that we have to expand it. There is no other way. There are all kinds of vested interests. There are all kind of powers which are now looking into that area. And before somebody sets up an air base there, or somebody brings out some particular thing that India can't interfere or whatever, this is the time when you need to interfere. You need to project your military power there, expand the chicken's neck, make it absolutely safe for the Northeast. We have a tremendous military capability in that region. It shouldn't, this operation wouldn't take more than 48 hours. They will, and if yes, all we need is really an excuse for us to go to send our forces there and to expand the chicken's neck, but that has to be done. Whichever way the government, there are hundreds of ways the government can uh, think or plan to do it, but these are next tough steps which have to be taken. I mean, there's of course a full podcast I would like to do about this a little later, but I'm short. I'm also suggesting that yes, the time is right now before the monsoons hit us. This is the time. Take what is called a blitzkrieg action, either through air or certainly sending certain land forces, expand the chicken eggs. Don't care about what Bangladesh says or does. That's not important. What don't also bother which what the major world powers say. It doesn't matter. We have already seen the reaction of the world. The world actually would have been very, very happy if India had not done well in Operation Sindoor. Right now, they are all shocked and awed at the prowess of the Indian military. And therefore, don't bother with what the world says. Expand chicken's neck, come what may. And lastly, I will lead you on this very interesting note that this was the time also when we also came to know who our true friends are. And I'm sorry to say, I don't think so. We still have many, many true well wishers who really kind of believed in us, who wanted us to succeed. I would rather say that whether it's the media, whether it's the political apparatus in so many countries in the West overall, which would have been quite happy if India had not done well. But we also know some countries are our well-wishers. I would therefore recommend that the Prime Minister, maybe he doesn't have at this point, he doesn't have the time to go out, but certainly maybe on a teleconference or something, on video link, he can especially get in a conversation with two people and thank two people and have them more on their side. That is the president of Russia and the prime minister of Israel. Because some of their weapon systems, some of the expertise, and we don't know the full truth. But there could have been a lot of backroom help from both these countries. We don't know. As I said, this is all guesswork. Nobody really knows. But if there was help, wonderful. But we would, but I'm recommending that let's have this video link between these two entities at least, which is showcasing that particular coverage or excerpts of that coverage to obviously people in the country here, but also to the world, and let the world know that there are certain powerful, important countries which have stood by us. I think we need to do that because, see, the delegations are spanning out. They're going all over the world. The foreign minister, Jaishankar, is going on 3 or 4 countries in Western Europe. Wonderful. All that is great. A very articulate opposition member of the opposition. He's leading the delegation to the US. We also know about that. But I think what the Prime Minister really can do is to get on a video link with these two leaders of these two countries, maybe thank them, maybe get into a conversation with them and show them and show to the world that these people are also, they have our back. They are behind us because these will send very, very important messages to the whole world. So these are, ladies and gentlemen, some of the steps which I recommend we do because let's face it, everything has changed after Operation Sindoor. Red lines have been crossed. A new reality has been created. It's not going to be the same. It's not going to be business as usual. I'm telling you again and again, everything has changed. We are going to live through very, very, I would say, interesting, tough, challenging, but very interesting times. India is bound to succeed. India will play a very dominant role. It has many, many cards up its sleeve. But at the same time, we also have to be cognizant of some minor areas of weakness in terms, as I said, of communication, messaging, etc., which we have. We have to fill those gaps. And then, of course, it's the India story after that, and nothing can stop that. So on this note, it's goodbye and cheers from my end till next time.